I went to Thailand. It was a recommendation of a friend, and it was beautiful. I felt like that was the first time I ever really saw and felt God. And it was because I was alone. My parents didn't tell me go to Thailand. My friends didn't say like, oh, we give you permission to go to Thailand. It wasn't something that was drawn in my direction. It was something I had to seek out in order to see like, is there actual joy in that for me? And so it allowed me to be very loose formed in that world. And I remember going to this hotel that everyone just got married. They just had their wedding. So it was almost like a honeymoon hotel. People were like, oh, who are you with? And I was like, I'm not with anyone. You know what? I think I'm on a me moon. So then I was just going around the pool like, I'm on a me moon. Like, I am literally celebrating me.
Are here today, which
Right,
is why we're celebrating you today.
Right. And that's why I'm crazy.
We also have this. We'll keep this. What do you want this on? You want to put that over there?
That was my dysfunctional side coming out.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate her. She keeps me protected, but she doesn't need to be there.
What does she have a different name?
No,
they're all.
Oh, you know what? If you ask my friends during a very reckless time, they would say it was Adereni.
Adereni.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Which is a name that was birthed when I was in Europe.
Yeah.
Which country?
Italian.
Yeah. Because they couldn't say Adereni.
So they
could say Adereni.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So.
And who is that one?
What are they like? Adereni.
They. Yeah. They live without consequences. Like that form of Adereni. Yeah. It was to the point that we even thought about like my future child and it being Adereni. So it was a lot.
Well then. Well, we'll welcome all of your personalities to the show.
Yes.
This is a safe space.
Oh, of course.
Absolutely.
I only go in safe spaces.
I have many personalities, and Jenna welcomes all of them.
Yeah.
Most of them not the best to engage with, but it also works out.
They work. Fredia, Jenna.
Adereni
today. Wonderful.
Today.
Exactly. You got Adereni today.
Good. Well, we're so happy to have you on the show. How was your week?
It was good.
What'd you do?
It was peaceful. Lots of work, but work that felt fulfilling.
Good.
And a lot of good energy. I went to a friend's poetry reading. That was really lit. That was very for the soul, like chicken soup for the soul.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, now I'm here. Went to Barry's this morning.
Bootcamp?
Mm-hmm.
Well, is Barry's Bootcamp one specific workout type, or is it a series of workouts that you can like sign up for?
It's a lot.
Okay.
So it is an hour long of torture.
Good. Subscribe
and
me.
when I'm in torture, I mean, like a lot of treadmills, up, high incline, weightlifting.
Weightlifting?
A lot of stuff
High
that you're
intensity.
like,
in an hour?
Oh, yeah. Oh. To a very diverse playlist. So everything from like Back That Ass Up to like some techno DJ. I don't know the name, but probably grew up a little with.
Do you work out a lot? Often? How many times a week do you work out is the question, really?
Right. I would say 3 or 4.
Oh my God. You ready for the apocalypse?
I had to figure it out because it got to a point where I was like celebrating my life so much. My core was like, well, we can't hold what you're digesting. We can't. Literally.
There's only so many mimosas we
my
can drink.
Core was like, we can't do this anymore. So as my core started to say like, bitch, you got me fucked up multiple times, and my clothes started to not fit and high-waisted was no longer an option for me, I had to figure out like, what was I going to divorce?
How you could have your cores back.
Exactly. Because I appreciated that relationship.
Right.
That's a very loving relationship. So I had to start going to the gym. I had to figure it out for real. Yeah.
How did you find out that you like berries? I don't feel like a lot of people enjoy berries boot camp.
Uh-huh.
And so how did you did you start with something similar and then escalate to, or did you just jump into berries boot camp and then got stuck in berries boot camp?
Well, I honestly think the financial aspect is what I didn't want to pay. I was like, $30 a class? That's brunch. Like,
That's
I think
brunch.
I'll just go to brunch. But obviously, I told you I had that very abusive relationship with my course, so I couldn't do that.
Okay.
So I used ClassPass. And so it was like $10 a class.
Yeah.
And then
But how much do you pay ClassPass? Like, I don't understand.
it got to a point where I realized I shouldn't do ClassPass because I'm only doing one berries and I want to do all berries, but I'm doing like one berries and like 3 random things that don't do anything. Like literally don't do anything to my core. So I had to change it.
Berries boot camp.
I need a boot camp in my life.
We could go together.
I would love to.
Yeah.
So I go to Body Rock right now for sculpting.
Oh, nice.
On the Reformer.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy what it's doing for my body. I'm very excited for summer. I'm very excited.
You ready to pop them cheeks out?
I'm very excited.
I love it.
It's Thongs 2018.
Should we go there?
People are like, oh, it's not warm enough here in the Bay. I'm like, I'm thongs out. Anybody invite me to a pool party?
Oh, man. Right when she said that too, I was like, I feel invited.
Right.
This is the thing.
Would you thong out though? Would you?
I would figure it
Listen,
out. I think when I go to my sober, very conscious mind, I'm like, no.
Right.
But then I realize, like, that's a super conditioned thought.
Right.
It's not like my true.
Listen, I don't have offensive cheeks either. Like, it's not like I'm offending anyone with how large these cheeks are, okay? Ain't nobody gonna go, whoa, look at all this. No, you're gonna be like, oh, her cheeks are out. That's it. That's all they're gonna do.
You're not divorcing families with your cheeks out.
Listen, there's not disruptive cheeks out here, okay? The cheeks aren't distracting your dad and your mom, okay?
Yeah.
But you see them.
Me too.
Okay, so
Yeah.
More butt pics 2018.
Okay.
More butt pics 2018.
Yeah.
More butt pics.
Yeah. In a real classy way.
This is the thing. This is the thing about Adereni though. With your posts, I'm like, when Tyra Banks is like, make it hoe, but fashion. And so I'm always like, hoe. And I'm like, wait, Adereni said fashion. Like, she's like, your Instagram is really beautifully curated.
Aw, thank
it's
you.
wonderful. Every time I have your post notifications on because
What?
yeah, all my
That is a blessing. I've never heard of that.
I got Jenna's on, I got yours on, I got all my homies on. So
Because
I want to be
right.
I want you to
something right here.
I want you to know, like, I like that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So when I look at your Instagram, it is really well curated, and I think I have a difficult time myself, like staying aligned with what I'm posting and just the persona I want to portray.
Mm-hmm.
And so I appreciate your consistency in that.
Oh,
Yeah. That's
Thank
all.
you.
That was just a compliment.
That's beautiful. Well, at the end of the day, I don't know. Like, we think about what we're going to post. We curate it to a certain extent, but Instagram has archives. So post what you want and take off what you don't want if you're no longer aligned with it. Seriously. I mean, don't think too hard about it.
Yeah.
The gram.
I like what you said about alignment, though. For me, that hit me deeper than like Instagram posts. I'm like, you can just say no. You can take away things that are no longer aligned.
Yeah, for sure. Because I feel like, and this is with everything. We like commit to something. We don't know why we committed to it. We think it's going to benefit us or whatever. And then we feel like we have to follow through. But what if you realized everything you wanted wasn't your thoughts, but the thoughts around you? Or like an influence that actually wasn't going to make you better, or you just weren't running your race. You were running someone else's race. So at the end of the day, you could always say like, I choose not to commit anymore. And that is okay. It's better for you to do that than to stay very loyal to something that is not making you spiritually better.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that's a strong gift of yours, is just being able to constantly assess that alignment. Because it's actually something you can do in every moment.
Yeah.
And in every day.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many people take the time to think about those things, think about who they are in each moment. So how did you get to that level of self-perspective and reflection and things like that? Like most people don't even be thinking about it. A lot of people don't think about who they are, why they do the things that they do, and what it means to them. I feel like those are constant questions that you're
always asking myself.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to pinpoint when it first started, and I do not know. I think it was probably an unconscious behavior for a long time, and I probably spoke about it different, probably from a defensive way, like being able to see perspectives from multiple people and be very clear of like, you're feeling this and you're feeling that, and I am feeling this, but I don't know if I'm going to feel this for long, like being okay with the coming and going of emotions. But I'm trying to figure out.
Or even why is it important to you if you can't identify when it happened?
Yeah. So it's important because we're all like humans having a spiritual experience. And because we are, at any given moment, you could be told that it's now time to feel something else. But I think when we're too wrapped up in our ego, and you could call it whatever you want, with your like human self, you're not as forgiving to let yourself roam. So that's why it's important to always be conscious, because you need to roam. Life is only what we make it. And when you think about how many years we're possibly promised, like it's all a possibility. It's not, I could walk outside right now and a bum say like, hey, it's time to go. And like, next thing you know, I get killed by a bum.
Are you a bum? You're right. You live in San Francisco. So
I know that's a reality, like a statistical reality.
It's wild. Okay.
But no, the seriousness of it is we could pass away at any given moment.
Sure.
So we shouldn't feel super heavy to do anything. Like it should just be a gradual experience of walking through life, meeting different bodies, learning from the people around us. They should be a mirror for yourself, and they're for their growth. And then, just having fun. But we make it heavy. We make it seem like it's hard. We make it seem like we constantly need to identify with this. What if I want to wake up and wear 2 different shoes? Is that bad? Like, is that harming anyone? Yeah. So you have to ask yourself, like, if I'm truly not harming anyone, my intentions were good, I should be able to do whatever I want. Like, whatever I want. And allow people to do the same.
Is that, I think that mindset kind of, and that kind of segues into the work that you do with other people, right? So, like, being a life coach, like, how has this transpired even to your relationship with Fredia, who you, can I say, life coach? And you guys can both maybe share on that. I would love to hear both of your perspectives.
Listen, you can read the full testimony on Adereni's website.
Did you write a paragraph?
It was a beautiful piece of work.
Well, this is the thing, like, this is the thing about Adereni is that I was in a very strange and difficult place in my life. And then I think a lot of times we make things hard for ourselves. And we also feel like all the pieces are falling apart. Yeah. So you feel like your finances aren't together and your family isn't together and then your job's not together and then you ain't shit. Right? You just like are just mean to yourself. Yeah. And I think having you as a life coach was allowed me to have an outside perspective, be like, you're actually not that bad of a person. You just actually have to align yourself, figure out what you want to do and who you are. So I think being that those are things that you are constantly asking yourself all the time, it shows. And to have someone who you look up to and who seems rather put together, like to still be like, I'm actually a human, and like, you know, you're quick to say, that was my alter ego speaking, right? Like, and that's my something,
lower self.
Yeah, that's my lower self. And Jenna, you've said that to me as well. Like, you can do things independently that, aren't your best self. That doesn't mean that your whole self is off.
Yeah.
I greatly benefited from you being my life coach. Life has drastically changed since then. I got this show and everything. And
Man. I'm always proud of your growth. Like, seriously.
Same here.
I don't know. When I think about life coaching, it's like not comparable to any human experience. It's something I would do if you didn't ask me to do it. And that happens often. I mean, that happened when we were talking. That happens with anyone. Like even my parents. Like I'm okay to step the boundary of you're my mom, you're my dad, if I know I could possibly say something that could help you feel more comfortable with being you, and more accountable to your joy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just, if I was to talk about it in the way that almost resonates with me the most, it's literally like the reason I'm alive. It just is. Everything else is a compliment or a fun way to decorate it. But I will have this conversation sober and be right. I will have this conversation drunk and be right. Like it's something that
is innate.
It won't die. It can't die. It's who I am. So it feels really good to use it and not feel like anything's needed to validate it at all. At all. Just the need and the experience and the opportunity to help someone is a gift itself. For me. So I'm just really thankful that I could always create in that space and like love in that space.
But you've also gone through actual training as well.
Yep.
So like you've been out here doing this and also you're trained to do it.
Yep.
When I was hearing you talk about it, someone's asked me previously if I was in a tribe, like what would be my role? And I felt like when you were talking about that, it was like, yeah, this is my role. Like it's innate in me to do this service. If I was in a tribe, I would be a person of counsel, right?
Yeah.
A person of reason, a person that can uplift and just open eyes. I think you can open eyes for sure. Through your own experience and through just engaging with other people's experience. Absolutely. You are indeed a life coach.
Aww.
You are indeed.
Thank you.
Are you still taking, I know on your website you have the listen to you. Are you still taking in new clients? And like if people were interested in like becoming a new client?
Of course. I actually just got a new client yesterday.
Okay.
So we touched base about a lot, but it is the coolest free-flowing, like almost passion project that I have. Something I don't feel like I have to heavily promote. And plus, you don't want to like promote like, you're not whole, come see me. Like I would never want to make that type of spiritual agreement with anyone. But I'm always really surprised and like grateful that I have consistent flow of clients. Like I've always had 2 to 3.
Intimate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When you think about it, and of course I would say like the most commonly defined way to call it is a life coach, but I'm actually like saying, hey, Ashley, I'm going to take all of your energy, all who you used to be, all who you want to be, and adopt that persona and see what you're feeling so I could articulate it in a way that you could possibly say, do I still want to be this? That's heavy. So for me, 2 to 3 is like the right amount to be able to still be myself, still be able to release, but be very focused and present that this is something deep for you and this could possibly change your life. And I want it to change your life.
Right.
So yeah, that's why I keep it around that number.
Sure. So I appreciate what you shared about your life coach work. I want to play a game with you.
Let's do it.
This game is called Starter Kit.
Okay.
So this was your requirement to bring 3 things that represent self.
Yes.
So I want you to pull these things out one at a time. You can show them. You can talk about them. You can do whatever you want, and then just lay them out here on the table.
Okay.
So we can start.
So the first thing I brought is my child that fits in my purse. And it is my camera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Listen, everybody wants to know what camera you have.
So
if you read her comments, it says, how did you do? You're over there, but you're by yourself. How did you take this picture? What camera are you using?
Man, I know. And at this point, I almost think I should just say, like, I use a very unique item that is not sold on this planet. I got it from Mars. And you'll never be able to get it. But to be honest, it's just a tripod.
Just set yourself up.
Like, it's just a tripod. But people are like, how'd you get over there? But you said you were alone and the camera snapped and you have a picture. Like,
listen,
I set it up.
So every time I'm like, I used a tripod. And they're like, whoa. And I don't know if it's whoa anymore. Like, come on, guys. Everything has a time. Oh, yeah.
It's thoughtfulness, right? Yeah. Like, people be wanting the perfect shot.
Yeah.
And your first thought is to ask somebody else.
Yeah.
And because they have a big camera. And then they take a photo of you on your phone, and it's shitty.
Yeah. There's no greater disappointment.
And so, okay, so then...
when you get back, oh, yeah, this is fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Rose
it's like...
eyes... mad. Like, gotta ask another person.
Yeah. Well, it's like collaborating through insecurities. Like, I don't trust myself to take this photo, so can you take it? But I don't even know what you're about to bring to the table.
Right.
Like, I don't even know if this is something you could actually live up to the expectation. But I'm so afraid to take my own picture. I would rather you do it. And I just don't do that with anything. So, yeah, I mean, you don't even have to have a tripod nowadays. I could just put this on a cup and stand right there and see what I like and see what I don't like. And at the end of the day, you don't have to show anyone.
You say you just like to have the frames.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So when you collaborate through insecurity, you don't get the amount of frames you want.
Listen.
You get like 3 not okay photos, and the person's like, you're welcome. And you're like, I'm not thankful though. Like, and I should have been able to say I wasn't even going to do this. So when I do my own photography, I could get like 1,000 frames and it not be a problem for anyone. Like, it's not hurting anything to set my battery.
And you want to go through them. Because like with modeling, it's like, they're like, oh, we're gonna send you the best 5. I said, well, that's what you think I look the best. Now if you send me all 1,000 frames, I can let you know which one look the best.
Or what if I wanted to play around with the cropping? Like, what if I wanted to be right here in 50 frames? Then I want to be right here in 50 other frames. Or what if I didn't notice that my smile was stale? Like, those are things that I want to explore without that being a problem. But when you have somebody negotiating your time and your frames, they're like, oh, you look cute. But you don't know my potential. That's the real answer. Like, it's not, oh, you look cute. Let me tell you this. What you saw may not be my standard. And that's okay. And it shouldn't even feel like there's resistance. It's like, let me go do this by myself. Because it's not even fair for you to be put in a position of vision when I have the vision. And not even to be arrogant, just being okay with your creativity.
I just love how you turn all of those things back to self. It's just like, you know what? I'm going to just do this myself. Right. I'm going to just take control of this situation for my own self, for my own sanity, because of this my standard, because this is what I want.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think people in general have a difficult time also just... Yeah, you're also very much self-taught. Like, you are a master's student at YouTube University.
Oh, yeah, all
like,
day.
You know, and I think people, a lot of times, a lot of the bloggers will have, like, their boyfriends who are taking their pictures or things. Bae takes pictures. I'm like, nah, that's her taking those pictures and editing them and uploading them and, you know, doing all of the things. Like a one-woman, badass team, one production team. And it's, I don't know, maybe it's because you are so beautiful. I mean, you're so well-spoken. I think it's hard for people to encapsulate that, like, you do all of these things really well. You know?
Okay, what's item number 2?
What is item number 2? It is a charger. No, it's not. That charger just fell out of my purse. It is my beautiful, beautiful passport.
Oh. You have a case on your passport?
I do. My best friend got it for me.
Very cute.
I don't know. It's been rolling with me for 7 or 8 years, and this
How many stamps does she have?
I don't know. I mean, take a look. I've never counted. When it comes to travel, people are always like, "You travel so much. What's your number?" And I'm like, I don't know. But I also don't like try and measure anything I do that I like truly love. I feel like I measure the things that I don't truly love because I'm like, I need to know how much time I'm putting into this. I need to know what I'm energetically being compensated to do this. But anything that is something of true joy, I don't measure it.
Anything of true joy you don't measure.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Where's the next place you're headed?
Where am I headed? I don't have anything on the books till September. I'm going to go to Australia for my birthday alone. But I got some points on deck. So I'm like, I have this itch of summer. Summer needs to be somewhere else.
Okay. Like the whole summer or just some parts?
Some parts.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Dip back and forth into the bay and say, like, what y'all talking about? And then, like, dip out again.
Whose arms are the
Listen,
worst?
this shirt is cute, but I got pterodactyl arms right now. Okay, the beauty
But
is
y'all
pain.
both doing it.
Beauty is pain.
Man.
We thought we're like, it's warm today. All of our shoulders are gonna be out. And then here we are.
Yeah.
But
Had
it's okay,
to.
because we're melanated, so it looks good.
It looks beautiful.
First thing I look at is this throwback picture.
Oh man, little me. Did I have
Those
my nose
stamps,
pierced?
though.
At a certain point in my
it.
life,
Look at
I
your
had
photo.
hella just random piercings.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. It was like a form of expression.
I looked at your stamps. Can you share a story from your time in? I looked at Cuba and Malaysia. Can you share a story from either of those places?
Yeah. So Cuba, I just recently came back from. I went in March with 2 other girlfriends, and it was a good teacher. So this was the first group trip I had went on in like 2-ish years, and that was purposely. Like I didn't want to go on any more group trips. I felt like I was just going because I wasn't comfortable with going alone, but I was compromising my experience. And it wasn't because the people were bad. It was just because we had 2 totally different perspectives on what we wanted to do when we traveled, that I felt like I left with less energy when I was supposed to travel to get more. And so I had to just hold off on traveling with people because, travel is my church. I like to get really close with feeling aligned with who I am and allowing myself space to just think and almost look at my life from 5,000 plus miles away and say like, hey, Adereni, what do you want to change? Or what are you still holding on to that you should have let go? Because right now you have nothing. You're away from everything you identified with. Do you still need all those things when you go back home? And I like to do that anywhere. So this was the first time I traveled with people after that realization. And it was good because for the first time I could properly articulate, like, I like space to be able to be in like a very ambiguous mental space. So I know we could fill our calendars with whatever Cuba has for today, but I'm going to spend today and tomorrow by myself. And I don't have any plans at all. Might just roll around in my room and listen to something or read a book, or I might walk out the house and start walking around. But it was the first time I was able to say that without being defensive. And for a long time, I felt myself being overly defensive about celebrating me. And that's not healthy. You shouldn't feel like you have to defend your time. It should just be something that you're like, hey, Ashley, today I want to spend some time alone. And that just be it. But it wasn't it for a long time. So I'm now at a place where it is it, and it feels good. So I got to Rome. I think there's something really special about being in a place that you can't speak the language. And it was Spanish. And of course, I feel like I know Piquito, but just enough.
Un bequito.
To make sure, like,
To get me around.
like probably not even a lot to get around. Like, we gotta just survive off God. But I mean, you could survive with a smile in my mind.
Exactly.
So it felt good to be in a place where I wasn't distracted by conversations because I didn't know what they were talking about. So it's almost like you're a baby again. And you hear the adults talking about something that does not bother you because you don't know the heaviness of any word or what they symbolize. And you get to just roam. You get to just do whatever. You get to be creative. And that isn't something that you feel like you have to ask for permission to do because you're like, I don't even know what you're saying. And it's not in an ignorant sense. It's in I honor that you guys are having a conversation, and I honor that I am adventuring inside myself. So it was really cool. That's what I did in Cuba.
So this is what you mean when you say travel is your church.
Mm-hmm.
Can you elaborate on it, though?
Yeah.
What is it exactly?
So when I think about travel, I think about a space in which I can examine all that I am without judgment, without force or resistance to be anything, but just experience who Adereni is thus far. And when I think about how I classify that experience, it is church. It's where I connect with the higher source. It's where I connect to my highest self. And it just feels like a frequency. Like it doesn't feel like something I'm paying to do, or something I'm like, I'm going into this movie, I'm going to watch an experience and I'm going to leave with what I paid for. It's something completely different than that. It's truly a different dimension of me. And that's why I think it helps to take pictures when I'm there, because I could always almost relive like what it felt like to be in that space, and then question like, why don't you always live in that space? Like, you need to make sure that you're always in alignment. If you're not able to get there, there might be something wrong with what you've signed up to see. So yeah, travel is my church because it allows me to do all those things in a very graceful manner, but also be able to translate that experience into words. And I think that's what a lot of people see when they see my captions, is the result of being able to be in a space that potent, of just being present to who I am, articulated very nicely through just moments. Moments of being almost awake or conscious.
When you were speaking, I really leveled with you. I feel like my memory was flicking through my travel experience. And I don't think that I've ever described it as travel is my church, but I felt so many of those things. I felt like I spent intimate moments with myself. You know, it was where I saw myself. It was where without judgment. And I completely understand that feeling of almost feeling like a child, you know? Through travel, through being somewhere new, and especially by being by yourself. When was your first solo trip? When did you go for the first time by yourself? And was your camera with you on that trip as well? Wow.
The camera comes, so that's the only person allowed.
Hello? Because it's heavy.
Right. Know. Oh, my gosh.
It's heavy.
Sometimes I'm like, you know what? Do I really need to bring you?
Right.
But then every time I don't, I'll be like,
shoulda. Yeah.
Why'd you even do that to yourself? But my first solo travel experience was when I was 25. So going through my quarter life crisis, like really asking myself, who is this person? Or better yet, I felt like my question was like, Adereni, do you just always want to, is your definition of winning being able to go to bottle service for free? Because that was the only goal that I was getting at 25. To be honest.
Yes.
And I knew that was like almost, it was a very empty feeling. So yeah, I went to Thailand. It was a recommendation of a friend, and it was beautiful. I felt like that was the first time I ever really saw and felt God. And it was because I was alone. My parents didn't tell me, go to Thailand. My friends didn't say like, oh, we give you permission to go to Thailand. It wasn't something that was drawn in my direction. It was something I had to seek out in order to see, like, is there actual joy in that for me? And so it allowed me to be very loose formed in that world. And I remember going to this hotel that everyone just got married. They just had their wedding. So it was almost like a honeymoon hotel. People were like, oh, who are you with? And I was like, I'm not with anyone. You know what? I think I'm on a me moon. So then I was just going around the pool like, I'm on a me moon. Like, I am literally celebrating me.
Me and my moon.
Yeah, this is my moon.
Me and my moon.
Yes.
Like, I didn't wait for a baby moon. I didn't wait for a honeymoon. Like, this is literally my me moon.
Hashtag me moon.
Please.
Shit.
Travel is your church.
Travel is your church.
Yes.
Hashtag me moon.
Yes.
Damn.
And a whole bunch of other lessons came to surface. When people think about traveling alone, the first thing they think about is
it safe?
Exactly. Am I going to be safe?
Yeah.
But then I realized I was probably more safe by myself than with my friends.
You would have been doing
In
dumb
groups.
shit.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Bringing a crowd. And
attention
to
just
yourself.
subscribing to things that I may have not wanted to subscribe to.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which ultimately may get me into a little trouble. But when I'm by myself, I'm very conscious of that.
Yes.
I'm very conscious of like not being afraid of going into any situation. So doing things that could be like at night or whatever it is, but still feeling very safe in knowing if I was to die, this is actually the only way I would want to die. I wouldn't want to die with a whole bunch of people and say like, well, I just wanted you guys next to me. So it wouldn't feel lonely.
Yeah, or I wish somebody would have saved me or helped me.
Yeah,
because it's like, no, you went out.
Exactly. And it's not their responsibility.
No.
That's how we make relationships heavy, or any type of friendship. It's like, I need you to do this for me. When it's not about that. Like, you should come whole to the table. And I think we build a lot of our relationships and our connections from the emptiness in us. And we think we have this connection and this bond, and we were like, that person was there for me, or that person was whatever. And it's good to a certain point, and then you have to realize, like, I need to create relationships that focus on being whole, or being comfortable with saying, like, this is my emptiness that I am completely okay with, because the universe is manifesting something that's going to fill it the right way. But I don't need you to provide anything for me to feel joyful with just being around you. And we don't do that. So I went on a little tangent, but that's just some stuff that I learned when I travel alone. And the first moment I learned that was in Thailand.
Yeah. It's really incredible. I'm literally reliving my own travel experiences through hearing this. Yes, because it's a way that I was never able to describe it. And I also think that listing a whole bunch of countries that you've been to does nothing but create a laundry list, as I said. Yeah. So sharing these things really expose the value in travel, not the quantity of where you've gone, but the quality of the experience you've created for yourself.
Yeah.
Those are self-experiences. That's like between you and the universe and whoever the universe puts on your path. It's not between you and your friends and the plan you made.
Yeah.
It's not between what everyone else wants to do while they're there. It's literally, okay, self, I think I need to eat breakfast. I need to either get up and get out of this space and go get breakfast, or I need to, so there's all these, everything is, okay, self, what are we going to do now? Okay, self, I need to go to, right? So I really, it's not an experience everyone gets to have, but it's an experience that the people who do have, who do get to open your eyes. I mean, wow, the enlightenment you shared now, you translated it perfectly into words. Really, you did. Thank you for sharing.
Of course.
Go ahead.
We have a third item.
Yeah, third item.
Do I? So my third item, because I was going back and forth, like, do I need a third item or no? And I don't even know why I'm looking in my purse, because it's not my purse.
She said, because I don't have a third item.
But I do, mentally. So my third item was the notes section in my phone. Because when I'm traveling, it's the easiest journal. And I do have like a physical journal, but I don't write in it as much as my notes. Like, when I look at my notes at any given time, I'm like just writing.
Oh, wow.
What I'm feeling, or not even what I'm feeling, what I'm observing my body to be feeling.
Yeah.
So that's, if I'm in a triggered experience, I'm like truly reliving something that is not present. I'll write it down. Like, I'll see, and that's the book I brought today, was the Untethered Soul, but it talks a lot about our inner roommate. And that's the voice that never stops. That's the voice that's like, Danny, don't wear that. That's not cute. Or, oh my gosh, your voice is so ugly. Like, they're going to hear it. Or, you don't really like that. It's just the voice that never stops talking.
Sure.
It's always,
roommate.
Yeah. It's your
y'all are sharing space for sure. And they're
sharing a whole life attached at the hip. So my notes section is a way that I could look at my inner roommate and not my inner roommate. And sometimes we forget that. we think that we're that voice, which is the ego, which is the whatever you want to call it, like the conditioned mind, but it's literally a voice. Like, it won't stop. You're probably thinking something right now, and you will never be able to stop it. So how do you coexist with that? And for me, the way I coexist with it is I just write it out and look at it and say, like, do you need to feel that for much longer? Or is that just something that your brain has identified to be important, but it's truly not? And then I give myself permission to live again.
That's the thing. You don't want to kill your roommate.
Oh, no.
It's not necessary.
Well, I think
you need them.
Yeah, your roommate is information.
Yeah. So like they exist and provide you context for other things that you've probably assessed before. Like the reason why you think your voice, I also have that. Like, I think my voice sounds so crazy. But it's like, I hear you, but like, I'm also not. I appreciate the feedback, and yet I'm still going to move forward with this endeavor.
Exactly. Yeah. If you haven't, like, take a second to just really stare at, like, who is talking.
Yeah.
I mean, we could think about very sensitive subjects, like Eckhart Tolle talks about, and he's like, at some point he wanted to commit suicide, and he was like, I can't live with myself. Then he had to ask himself, like, who is this self I can't live with? Like, it's not me, I'm here, but who am I talking about? And that's your inner roommate.
Ooh.
Listen.
Gems.
She's a ruby. Like, she's a like, it's insane.
What I love about it is it just makes it two separate things.
Yeah.
Like, you can take it outside of yourself. It doesn't have to be self. It can be another self.
It's another self.
And that is just expansive. That's an expansive thought.
And still be accountable to it. Like, know that it's something that you are growing, you are nurturing, you're paying attention to. That's why I will say all the time, like, yeah, that was my lower self.
My lower self.
She was out here this weekend. My lower self was acting up.
My lower self was doing too much this weekend.
Too much trying to ruin my best self.
Exactly.
We needed some water. We needed to relax.
So how do you can you make that? Can you make your lower self better, or do you just coexist with them?
I feel like you just coexist with it, and you ask yourself consciously, like, why is your lower self attracted to those things? Because usually they're dysfunctional. Like, pure dysfunction.
And shit niggas and Hennessy.
Man,
it's
like,
my lower self.
You ask yourself, like, I've been out since 8 a.m. Why am I going home at 1 a.m. the next day?
Yes.
And I don't feel like I did anything productive for like
lower self behaviors.
Lower self was out here.
So you told me we can just chalk those up to the game then. We just charge it as an L. It's
for
good.
me,
all my L's turn into lessons.
Oh yeah.
That's what Chancellor
said.
said.
Yes. Because at the end of the day, you need that perspective. You need to ask yourself, like, why is this so comfortable? Like, why is this dysfunction so comfortable? Whether it's a relationship where all you guys do is go back and forth and say what you're not, and it's very, like, manipulative, or, like, just wanting attention from all the wrong things. And that could be portraying a certain image on the gram and always wanting to just live for a like, or that could be literally like signing up for stuff that you won't fulfill you long term, but you're like, if I get validated through that, if I get that accreditation, like, I'm gonna feel whole. Like, it's almost lower self thinking, because it's the same mentality you had when you were 4 or 5 and you learned what comparison was. You learned what it meant to be first, and you meant what it felt to be last. You learn the definition of failure. It's almost when you identified shame. But all of it doesn't have to live fluidly through you. It's just something that will always come up.
Sure.
Your heart moves at any given time. Your lungs move at any given time. And just like those things, your brain moves at any given time. So you have to ask yourself, like, am I going to be possessed by my inner roommate, or am I going to allow the thoughts to come, say what they need to say, listen to the information, and then release it to be who I need to be?
Sure.
Wow. So live with your inner roommate, essentially make your better self stronger to be able to identify.
Oh, yeah.
Right. They'll never go away, but you can make yourself strong enough to be able to assess that they're essentially not saying any shit.
Yeah. Because the thing is, if you were to put all your energy into like trying to kill your inner roommate, that would be resistance. It would be resistance of who you are. You have developed this persona. It is living in you. And now you're fighting with yourself to not be yourself, which is a vicious cycle of the inner roommate.
Yeah.
Your inner roommate is the one who wants to kill the other person, which is it.
Right.
You need to be able to coexist with all of that, to coexist to anything you've even tried to manifest and realize it wasn't actually for the betterment of you. Like, you have to be very respectful of everything that you thought you needed.
Sure. And so my question, I think I want to take that lower self or that growth work, that self-work into like We Brunch and developing something new, developing even an extension of yourself, right? How do you put lower self to the side when you are growing and trying new things and manifesting the things that you want? I think that's a battle, right?
Yeah.
Between ego, why am I doing this?
Yeah. And so that's strictly intention.
Yeah.
Like this goes with the We Brunch too. I think Chastity and myself could both say our pace started to slow down when we were thinking in our lower self mind. When we were thinking like, when we do this, we're going to get this validation from these people or from these platforms. When we do this, we're going to become this whatever. And it was almost this very strong self-inflicting relationship with not being enough with who we already were. So when I think about We Brunch, I think about how it taught us both that really quick, like before we even had one event, because we were so focused on like, okay, let's shoot the documentary. Let's look cute. No, I don't have my lipstick on. Like, wait till I get my lipstick on and then get me writing. Not even writing anything. You know, it was just this obsession with trying to be something. Right. And we told ourselves too, like, the only reason why this isn't going to work is we're going to get in our own way. That's it. And I think we quickly saw that when we were almost feeding this inner roommate idea of who we wanted to be, and not just doing it intentionally to bring people together, doing it intentionally to celebrate who we were and find an outlet to be creative at all given times. So when I look at We Brunch now, I'm really proud that we were able to successfully learn those lessons and not let that be a barrier for the growth that we have, whether it's doing bigger events or doing restaurants that are new and just want to have a collaboration with us. And just knowing like We Brunch or anything that we're attached to creatively could go wherever we want it to go, but I'd rather it go exactly where it needs to go for me to grow. Like, not something that, okay, cool, I want X, Y, and Z, and this is my strategy, and it needs to look like that, it needs to feel like that. No, I'm going to actually just do what feels best for me to be able to move in a space that may demand a higher sense of who I am on a higher level in the future. So
someone proposed that question to us yesterday. Essentially, what do we want to gain from It's a Look? And we were just like, we just really want to be able to be ourselves. And be able for people to understand that that's what we do full time. It's like being we said this so many times, being our best selves. Like growing and being able to communicate, strongly being able to communicate who you are and what you do. Yeah. And you really only get to do that in spaces that you can control and that you own. Yeah. It's difficult though, because a lot of times people will go, oh, like your goal, right, is to get picked up, like to win the Spotify application or grant, or to get picked up by some kind of major production company. It's like, is it? Yeah. Because would that allow me to be in control of this narrative and who I am?
Yeah. And I think we have to be honest with ourselves. Like, is there a thought? Yeah. Do I know that's a low goal? Of course. So I could get picked up. I could win something. And all those will be great attributes to who I'm becoming soulfully, but they don't define you if you don't get it. And it's an interesting space to move in, like a balance. But I think too, when you constantly get the questions of like, oh, you're doing this for this reason, or people are almost wanting to, and not in a bad way, but just like question your intention. That's when you have to learn the most about yourself. Like, what am I feeling while somebody says this? Am I still able to say like, I truly just want it to be something that I can move through and have almost creative therapy and allow people to see like you could do this in a way that feels good for you. And you don't have to compromise who you are. You don't have to betray who you are. You could just be you.
I think I've never heard that, creative therapy.
If I didn't have my outlets, I do not know who I would be. I don't even think I'd be able to be generously joyful for others. Because it would be such a deep state of betrayal of myself that I wouldn't be able to see that for others. So when you think about being a creative and you think about almost paying respect or paying honor to who you are, you do that so you could be your best self, not only to you, but to others. And you will never be able to learn that lesson. You will never be able to see that perspective if you don't go forth with who you are creatively.
That's a word. That's absolutely a word.
I think there's not a lot of, usually I've never heard anyone say creative therapy. I don't know if that is yourself. If you want to trademark that right now, like you should.
It just came out. It was in flow.
Because it's just, I don't feel like that we have a lot of the tools, the verbal tools to communicate these things.
Yeah.
So I'm always just like, at a loss for words, and I get confused, and then I don't know how to, then I get flustered, and then I feel like I actually don't know, but it actually can be that simple, that this is just a good time. This is just a good feeling. That's why I'm doing it. Yeah.
Or even saying yesterday I defined it as this, but today I realized like that definition was low. It was very low. It was a definition from my insecurity. It was a definition from not feeling like I was enough. And today it is what it is. When I feel like posting, I post. When I feel like throwing a brunch, I throw a brunch. When I have time and mental space, I'm a life coach. And it's beautiful to be able to say, like, I do these when they feel right, not routinely just because someone told me, like, you aren't Adereni if you don't identify with it. And that's how you take your power back. You do it when you're in flow.
Yeah. Oh, I'm taking all my power back.
Listen.
You have to.
Just take it all in.
Yeah.
Snatching it all back.
And that's how you successfully teach your inner roommate to think differently. So when you talked earlier about, like, do you try to kill it or whatever? No, but you can transmute what it does, what it talks about. You could transmute it to be more aware by paying honor to yourself in those ways.
I'm just thinking about how I've been able to change the narrative my lower self has talked about. I think they're a lot more practical now. So they're less negative. They're like when I would do stand-up, I'd be like, no one thinks you're funny. And now it's more so, did you actually think about the things you're going to say? Yeah. And that's different. Yeah. That's a much more different conversation to have with self. You're like, you're saying these things, but did you actually really think about why they're funny? Like, why are they funny to you? Because it really actually tells you what you think about the world, what you think about things. So it is a healthier conversation. Yeah. No, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. But I was having a deep conversation and I started crying, and I felt very intense too. Like it wasn't an aggressive cry, but it was definitely like a heavy cry. And because I've been able to take time and be really close with my inner roommate, instead of feeling completely possessed by that temporary feeling, I instantly went into like, this is information. You do not cry often. Like, what is your body cleansing as of right now? Like, why do tears feel like they need to flow? What is this? And it's almost like I got to watch the movie of who I was and who I haven't been able to come to terms with versus almost feeling abandoned and ashamed of tears. It was super interesting, but I was like, I'm glad we're at this space.
I'm glad that anything, whether it's anger or sadness or either happiness, could be a good movie for me to watch and just be aware of, versus constantly feeling like I have to concretely subscribe to this event and never get out of it. Yeah.
Incredible. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
so candid.
Always.
You have a way about you where you let people in and you let people get to know you, kind of, right? Like, it's like we've gotten to know you better, but you really, you've just shared from your experience candidly, but it was never too much, right? I never felt like you shared too much. You just shared what was truthful, and it could have been embarrassing. It could have been anger. It could have been something before, but right now it's just growth. It's just truth. It's just who you are.
Yeah.
And I hope that I know that it will inspire us to be better, who we are better, and then also the people who are listening to you share this, help them be better. So thank you for sharing. I want to ask you to get into the book that you read, brought. You mentioned it previously before, but what did you bring?
I brought The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. You guys can look at it if you want. But it was a recommendation from my auntie Oprah. I think you guys know her.
We know.
Auntie Oprah.
She's just a little out there.
Casual. She was at the barbecue last week.
And it's a super good book. If you guys wanted, you could have it. I bought like 3.
Wow.
And I have it on an audiobook too, so you could definitely like take that and use it if you want. But it's really good because even in the beginning he talks about we're going to take statistics, philosophy, books, accreditation, anything that you have used to try to get to know yourself out. And this is based strictly off your perspective of seeing the world. So he takes you down the journey of really seeing life through your lens, seeing some of the things that you've picked up that you need to put down emotionally, physically, and mentally, and allow you a space where you could just feel very comfortable with going on the journey of who you are, in a very graceful way. So yeah, I would definitely read that. You go first.
I was going to ask, do you have a line that you want to read from this? Or I just found one that I can share.
Girl, go ahead.
You will get to a point in your growth where you understand that if you protect yourself, you will never be free. It's that simple. Because you're scared, you have locked yourself within your house and pulled down all the shades. Now it's dark and you want to feel the sunlight, but you can't. It's impossible. If you close and protect yourself, you are locking this scared, insecure person within your heart. You will never be free that way. Ultimately, if you protect yourself perfectly, you will never grow. All your habits and idiosyncrasies will stay the same. Life becomes stagnant when people protect their stored issues.
You see where this book is a whole ass vibe?
Yes.
That's a random page.
So I'll be the first to keep this one. I'll read this one and untether my soul.
Yes.
Let it go, Elsa.
Yeah.
Let it go.
So when you think about the title, The Untethered Soul, you're like, ooh, that's a mysterious name. Or I was like, okay, cool. This sounds like a good read. But when I think about the title now after reading it, it's lit. Like a soul that is not attached to anything. A soul that is comfortable with just moving through life and understanding that they're no better or nor worse than what they're experiencing. They're just the lens of which they are able to see life through. So it's super cool. The untethered soul, like the soul that is not intertwined by anything else but itself.
Not intertwined by anything. Are you striving your best to be an untethered soul?
Always. I'm striving my best to be a channel for love, a channel for growth, so like comfortable growth, organic growth, and a channel for just celebrating who you are. So when I think about that, that can't be attached to anything, because if it is, it gets misdefined. So I'm definitely striving to be an untethered soul.
Striving to be an untethered soul. Can you tell us one more time? Well, a couple of things, right? So I want you, first of all, to brag on yourself, please. So tell us where we can find you, how we can keep up with you, what's happening in your world that we should know about.
Yeah.
And then I want you to share anything. Is there anything else that has not been said? Anything else that hasn't been in the conversation? I want you to share that as well. Now's the time.
Okay, cool. So, for just like social media purposes, it is my name. So, Adereni.Fashokun on Instagram. As far as like a website, I've been blessed to have a unique name. So it's Adereni.com. I was even driving in the car this morning and I was like, I actually have to name my daughter Adereni because she got to have this website.
She needs this.
She got to do whatever she wants on this website. Like, that is so cool to just have your first name as a website. But yeah, so you could find me on those avenues. Also, some of the places I express myself are We Brunch. So it'd be we_brunch on Instagram. And yeah, I would say overall, you guys know this, and anyone out there should know this too. I am a life coach. If you need to talk, I do free consultations. I will always make a space to just allow you to see yourself clearly without that being something that you feel needs to cost you anything but joy, or give you joy, not cost you joy. But besides that, I would use those avenues to figure out a way to connect with me. As far as the next We Brunch, we do have it every 2 to 3 months. So expect a summer one coming soon. And I'll definitely give more information when it comes.
Absolutely. Anything not in the conversation?
Parting words of wisdom to share?
I don't know. Just like enjoy this. Really, like even enjoy what you guys are doing today. It may be bigger in the future. It may be smaller and more intimate, but enjoy this and listen to how you feel and what knowledge you're learning about yourself as you continue to do it. Do you feel like you're going more in the course of love, or do you feel like you're going back into fear and creating your identity through whatever angle feels best? But for you to enjoy this, because this is information. This is creative information. This is creative bliss. This is an avenue that you guys have created on your own. So be proud of whatever it looks like. Never be ashamed or embarrassed of what it looks like when it's messing up or learning about who it is. This is you. This is the very form of you. This is the rawest form of you. So if I could say anything, enjoy this.
Amazing. Before we let you go, we do want you to sign the rhino. Every guest signs the rhino.
Rhino is a good word because I did not know you were going to say rhino. And when you did, I was like, oh, I definitely want to sign a rhino.
We want you to sign this rhino. All of our guests sign it. You pick any color or assortment of colors you want.
Rhino.
But we do want to thank you so much for being on the show. Again, you guys can find her all Adereni.Fashokun on Instagram and Adereni.com. And as she said, it's a look. Creative therapy. This is what was it? Me moon.
This is the me moon. Whoa, be on your me moon.
Be on your me moon.
Yeah.
This is Travel is Church. Here with Adereni, Fredia and Jena. That's a wrap.